All right, today we're going to unpack one of the most profound spiritual texts in history, the Bhagavad Gita. And what's so fascinating about it is that, it's not some sermon delivered from a peaceful mountaintop. Nope. It's an urgent, life-altering conversation that happens right in the middle of a battlefield, with a warrior totally in crisis and his divine guide. So let's set that scene, shall we?
Okay, so I want you to really picture this. You've got two gigantic armies staring each other down just moments away from a catastrophic war. And right there, in that tense no man's land between them, there's a single chariot. Inside, you've got the hero, the legendary warrior prince Arjuna. And driving the chariot is his guide, who, get this, is actually Lord Krishna in disguise. The conversation they're about to have, well, that is the Bhagavad Gita.
So let's dig into what's really at stake here. This isn't just a fight over land or power. It's what's known as a battle for dharma. And dharma is a huge concept. It means your duty, righteousness, the right way to live, kind of the cosmic order of things. So this whole physical war, it's really just the backdrop for a much, much deeper internal struggle. The place is called Kurukshetra. But honestly, the location isn't as important as the who, because the emotional stakes here are off the charts. This is a full-blown civil war. It's a family feud on a truly epic scale. You've got the Pandava brothers with our hero Arjuna on one side, and on the other, their own cousins, the Kauravas. We're talking literally family, about to slaughter each other for a kingdom. Just imagine that. And that brings us right to the heart of the problem and to our hero, Arjuna. I mean, this guy is the warrior, an incredible archer, born and raised for this exact moment. He should be ready to go. But when he looks across that battlefield, he doesn't just see the enemy. He sees faces. The faces of people he's known his whole life, people he loves and respects. And this right here is the question that makes the Gita so timeless. Something we can all relate to, right? What do you do when your duty feels completely and utterly wrong? See, Arjuna's dharma, his job as a warrior, is to fight for what's right. But his heart, his conscience, is screaming that killing his own family is just a terrible, monstrous sin. He's totally frozen, completely paralyzed by this impossible choice. And let's just break down how personal this is. I mean, the weight of this is just staggering. It's not some faceless army he's facing. He's supposed to fight his great-grandfather, Bhishma, the man who practically raised him. He's supposed to fight his revered teacher, Drona, the guy who taught him how to be a warrior in the first place. This isn't some philosophical puzzle for him. It's a real, personal horror story. You can feel his breakdown right there in the text. He's having a full-blown panic attack. His body starts to tremble, his mouth goes dry. His legendary bow, the Gandiva, literally slips right out of his hands. He just collapses and tells Krishna, "I can't do this. I'd rather be a beggar than win a kingdom this way." He's completely and utterly lost. And it's right here, in this moment of absolute rock-bottom despair, that everything changes. His charioteer, Krishna, steps up. And it becomes clear he's not just there to drive the horses. He's there to guide Arjuna's very soul. And the first thing he does is completely flip Arjuna's entire understanding of life, death, and what's real. Krishna's first piece of wisdom is a total game changer. He basically tells Arjuna, look, your grief is real, but it's based on a huge misunderstanding. You're confusing the temporary stuff, the body, with what's truly eternal and indestructible, the soul inside. And he uses this brilliant, simple analogy to explain it. He says, think of the body like a set of clothes. You know, when your clothes get old and worn out, what do? You take them off and put on new ones. Well, Krishna says the soul does the exact same thing with bodies. The body is temporary, it perishes, but the soul, the real you, that's eternal. It can't be destroyed. And this eternal, true self has a name, the Atman. Think of it as the core of your being. It's that spark of pure consciousness inside every living thing. It was never born, and it can never, ever die. In a world where everything changes, the Atman is the one thing that is absolutely constant. So Krishna's point is powerful, right? He's saying, Arjuna, even if you fight, you might destroy bodies, but you cannot harm the Atman, that immortal soul, inside your grandfather or your teacher. Now, this doesn't suddenly make war a good thing, not at all. But what it does is it lifts Arjuna's perspective from his personal, paralyzing grief to a much, much bigger cosmic view of reality. Okay, so understanding the immortal soul is a huge first step. But Arjuna is still sitting in a chariot on a battlefield. He still has to do something. And this is where Krishna introduces maybe the most famous teaching in the Gita, a new way to live, a new way to act, called the path of selfless action. This path has a name, and it's Karma Yoga. Now, karma just means action, and yoga means discipline. So Karma Yoga is the discipline of action, and the core idea is this. You perform your duty, your dharma, with 100% of your skill and commitment. But, and this is the really radical part, you completely let go of any attachment to what happens next.
It kind of breaks down to 3 simple steps. Step 1, figure out what your duty is, your dharma. For Arjuna, that's fighting this unjust war. Step 2, do it, and do it with everything you've got, all your skill, all your focus. And then step 3, the most important one, you renounce any claim to the results. Success, failure, praise, blame, you offer it all up and stay calm and centered on the inside no matter the outcome. And this leads to probably the most famous line from the entire Gita. Krishna says, "You have a right to the work, but never to its fruits." Think about that for a second. It's such a radical idea. He's saying that all our stress, all our anxiety, all that ego-driven fear, it doesn't come from the action itself. It comes from being desperately attached to the outcome of that action. So you have to ask, right? Why does this conversation, this dialogue from an ancient battlefield thousands of years ago, why does it still speak so powerfully to millions of people today? I'm talking everyone from yogis and spiritual seekers to CEOs and scientists. Well, it's because the battlefield of Kurukshetra isn't just some historical place. It's a metaphor for the battlefield of our own lives. Every single one of us faces our own Kuruksetras, don't we? Those tough moments, those moral dilemmas, those crises where what we have to do conflicts with what we want to do, or what we're afraid of. And that's what makes the Gita's wisdom so incredibly practical. It's a roadmap. It teaches you how to fulfill your responsibilities without being totally crippled by anxiety about the outcome. It shows that real freedom isn't found by running away from your life, but by engaging with it fully from a place of unshakable inner peace, connected to that true eternal self we talked about, the Atman. So in the end, the Gita doesn't just give us answers. It leaves us with a really powerful question for our own lives. We might not be warriors in a chariot, but we all have our duties, right? To our jobs, our families, our communities. The challenge the Gita puts to us is this. In a world filled with pressure and distraction, what is the selfless action you're being called to do? What is the work your life is asking of you, right?